Hello, chess friends, and welcome to your of Chess channel. And first of all, I wish you a happy new year, a happy 2023. And the most important thing that I wish for you are good health and good relations, because these two things I think are the base, are the cornerstone of everything that you maybe hope in life. If you want maybe even some material things, I don't think that you can get it if you don't have good health and good relations. So that's why that are the things that you should strive, and that are the most important thing that I wish for you. So I hope you get the best, and of course I wish you also some good rating points in chess, because of course chess has become also, I think, a very important aspect of your life. And in the continuation of my YouTube chess channel will nothing change. I think we will cover the most important tournaments, we'll cover of course the beautiful top engine games, and we'll cover most important openings like the Cambridge Springs defense that we have started recently. I think this will be the third concept of my YouTube chess channel, and I hope you will like it, and of course follow my channel. So we are starting now the 2023 with a beautiful tactical game between Leela C0 versus Seer from the Computer Bullet Chess Championship, and really great things have happened now already in the new year. Look at this current standings of this beautiful chess event. It's now not a pure domination of the Stockfish 15 engine. Leela C0 is now there. Leela C0 has the same point count like Stockfish in bullet chess. We have to say in bullet chess, Stockfish was really the beast. Stockfish had always like an advantage of 30-40 points in this chess event. Look at this now. Leela C0 is there with the Stockfish engine, and also the Dragon engine is not so bad, 45 points out of the possible 70 points. Really it will be now a huge rivalry in the chess community. So that's why I think we can expect really great things in the continuation, but also here on my YouTube chess channel, because these are very important games for me to follow. Because you see also in this particular game that I prepared for you, this top engine are showing us basically the direction of particular openings, of particular sidelines of openings. And the first thing that I've sorted out in the 2023 is a beautiful game, as I said, between Leela and Seer in a beautiful French defense, the so-called advanced variation. Be prepared. This is really sick, brutal tactics that Leela C0 played here. Really like the Stockfish engine, Leela is becoming stronger and stronger, and I've been told that this is now an improved version of Leela C0. So as I said, this will be now a beautiful 2023 for us. So let's see now the game. Leela versus Seer in a beautiful French defense. So Leela opened with the move e4. We have now the move e6 by Seer, d4, d5, and after move e5, we have now the so-called advanced variation. And let's repeat again the most important strategic concepts of this blocked pawn structures. I've talked about these ideas many times, but let's repeat it again. Maybe you're watching one of my videos for the first time. Look at this. When we have this block pawn structure, obviously white is going to attack here the king side, because the small pawn chain is directed to that side of the board. Of course, black will continue here an attack on the queen side. The most important thing is here to notice that we have here a bad bishop of blacks here. The bishop on c8 is always paralyzed by its own pawn structure. So that's why with this method that Seer played, with his b6 method, Seer is hoping to get the bishop on a6, where it can be maybe traded on a6 for the bishop on f1. So here with this move b6, black is preparing a positional trade of pieces of the light square bishops, is hoping simply to get rid of this bad piece that's blocked out, that's paralyzed by its own pawn structure. I think it's a good method. It's playable here for black. In the continuation, Leela continues with normal development, knight to f3, knight to e7, knight to c3, and now comes this move, bishop to a6. Leela c0 takes, bishop to a6, knight takes a6, and now kingside castling. So in the beginning, nothing spectacular happened. In the beginning, I thought, okay, this is nothing special, this is just a normal French defense game. But you see now how Leela C0 will use these three minor pieces in the attack. Really beautiful attack it will be. So here Seer plays queen to d7. We have knight to e2. Very important move, because as I said, with this pawn chain here, black is announcing an attack here on the queen side. Black is hoping for to get the c5 goal. c5 would of course break the position on the queen side, and that's why knight to e2 is very important in order to prepare c3 to keep here really a compact position in the center of the board. So now comes c5 by Seer. We have c3, knight to c6, liberates of course now also the dark square diagonal for the bishop. We have now knight to g3, and slowly but surely, look at this, white is building here already a beautiful attacking formation. Both of these knights and the bishop and of course the queen are targeting here towards the king side, so it's now very dangerous maybe to castle king side because many pieces are there. And look at this, you have here a lack of defenders in front of the king because the e5 is paralyzing the square f6, so you cannot bring your pieces into defense. That I think now the downside about this particular line by black. So in the continuation, bishop to e7 played by Seer, we have now knight to h5, a really wild move here by Lila C0, already attacking the g6 pawn. If you play now g6 immediately, then you get this one, knight to f6, after bishop to f6, e takes f6. Okay, maybe you could castle out of white's attack here from black's perspective, but still it's strange, I think, to play the game like this. It's not so good because first of all, what we'll play, I think, here from white perspective is to move f4, cutting off here the potential escape route for the king. The king has to move now to b7, and then with maybe b3, a4, a5, you will eventually break the position here on the queen side. Rook to e1, I think, would be a very important move, controlling further the e5, and I think white's attack on the queen side would be much faster than a potential black's attack here on the king side. You can also here, instead of this move bishop to f4, you can play b4 immediately. This will be also, I think, a beautiful line, opening simply the position in front of black's king is I think creating many tactical problems in black's camp. So you see, you cannot even castle queen side. That's, I think, also the downside about this particular line of black. So here after move bishop to e7 and knight to h5, Seer castle king side. Now Lila c0 plays queen to d3, attacks now the knight on a6, but also the pawn on h7. In the continuation, knight to c7, and now knight to g5, immediately threatening the checkmate here on h7. If you play something like f5 in order to maybe lock the diagonal, this is not possible. Of course, you get this beautiful en passant and you're getting destroyed on h7 anyway. And also bishop to g5 is not so good because after bishop to g5 and maybe f5, again e takes f6 could happen, so this is not possible. And after something like, I don't know, instead of move f5, if you play maybe something like knight to e8, maybe in order to control further the g7 square, still I think with ideas like queen to g3, queen to h3, knight to f6 is a possibility, maybe f4, f5. Again, notice the queen, the bishop, the knight are already attacking black's king, and with the move f4, maybe we can play rook to f3, rook to h3, a beautiful rook lift. Maybe we can play rook to e1, rook to e3, rook to h3. So I think it's very easy now for white to play the game. You just include more attackers, and as I said, black is having a lack of defenders in front of the king. Black has only maybe this knight as a defender. This will be, I think, a suicide mission here for black. So that's why this line is also not working. So after move knight to g5, the threat is of course the checkmate on h7. Here the Seer engine cut off this diagonal with the move g6, but now comes this beautiful move. It's simply the best move probably of 2023. Here Lila c0 played a beautiful queen to h3, sacrifices simply the knight on h5. In the continuation, we have now bishop to g5. If you play g takes h5 here by black, this wasn't played in the game, but let's see now this continuation. The problem is this one. Queen to h5 leads immediately into a checkmate threat. You have to pick up here the knight on g5, but now comes the check. You have to step back here to h8. Now we play a check on f6. You have to play again with your king to g8. Now we have bishop to h6, immediately threatening a checkmate on g7. Now we have to play knight to e8, and after queen to g5, king to h8. Look at this, the king is now not protecting anymore the rook on f8. With the move knight to e8, the rooks are disconnected and will simply pick up the piece, and this is game over. So you see, it's not possible to take out this knight on immediately on h5. So that's why here the Seer engine tried this one, bishop to g5, getting rid of this annoying knight on g5. We have now bishop takes g5, and now g takes h5. It's a different story. You saw in this previous line the queen on g5 came with the tempo against the king, so now it's a different story. But again, it's not so easy now to play the game for black. We have now bishop to f6, preparing now some checkmate threats on g7. So that's why you have to bring now the knight on e7 in order to control further the g file. In the continuation, queen to h5, knight to e8, and now queen to g5, knight to g6 is the must move, and now queen to h6 again. We're threatening some checkmates on g7 because you cannot take out here the bishop on f6, because after e takes f6 there's no further protection of the g7 square, so it's game over. But let's go back. In this particular position, we have to notice one particular thing. Okay, you have prevented maybe this checkmate threat on g7, but now again your rooks are disconnected, and this idea is coming again. Maybe f4, rook to f3, rook to h3, again targeting the h7 square. That's now the most important tactical threat of white. So that's why black needs to find new defensive resources. Look at it, both of these knights are simply paralyzed, they cannot move. So in the continuation, the Seer engine tried c takes d4. We have now f4. Here Lila c0 is ignoring here the tactics on this c file and d file. Here in the continuation we have d takes c3, and now after b takes c3, rook to c8, trying to get somehow maybe further pieces into the game, but now Lila plays rook to f3, immediately threatens now the move rook to h3, and basically this game is already over. We're now in move 22, and basically black is already lost. Really, really immortal, really beautiful attack here by Lila c0, beautiful performance, and I think you will meet many times this b6, bishop to a6 idea by black, and you see now how to play against this method. Simply use many of our pieces on the king side, and I think you have a directed game. Here the Seer engine has to sacrifice the rook. A rook to c3 has to be played. There's nothing that can be done, because after rook to c3 you don't have time to play any other move. If you play, let's see, just a bad move like queen to b7, rook to h3 leads into a forced checkmate sequence, so nothing can change. So that's why after move rook to c3 we have now queen to a4, threatens now the move queen to d4, but now Lila prevents this idea with rook to d3. We have rook, queen to f4, queen takes f4, knight to f4, and okay, we have now reached this particular position where black has defended maybe now the checkmate threat on g7, but is simply down the exchange, and from this point on I think the game is a one-way ticket. So rook to g3 played by Lila, knight to g6 again, bishop to e7 even traps the rook. We have knight to c7, but now h4, we have rook to e8, and here bishop to d6. Here Lila didn't want to even give up the bishop for the rook, because maybe this was playable, but keeping the bishop active here on dark horse is much better, because the dark horse bishop is of course controlling many of these squares that are possible. So here very important moves here by Lila c0. So in the continuation, knight to b5 hitting the bishop, h5, we have now knight to d4, and here rook to g4 was played by Lila c0. You could maybe play this idea, h takes g6, maybe you get the fork. Still I think this is winning for white with this extra bishop, with several dark problems in front of black's camp. You can of course occupy immediately the c file. Still this would be a winning continuation, but Lila c0 played the more accurate line, played first of all rook to g4, knight to c2, rook to c1, we have knight to e3, again attacking here the rook, the knight with the move rook to g3, knight to f5 creates of course the fork against the bishop and the rook. Now rook to c3, and here after move knight to d6, e takes d6, the knight has to move, and now finally with this sequence, with this beautiful tactical sequence, Lila c0 simplified the game enough, simply is forcing now a trade of rooks, and now finally the game is over. So king to g7, let's see how the game went on. g4, beautiful move, you cannot pick it up because we get simply e7, e8, d7, d8, beautiful promotion. So that's why here a5, a4, king to f6, rook to g8, knight to d7, and now after g5 the king has to step back, and now Lila goes with the rook on the 7th rank. Now this both of these pawns are really weak. So king takes d6, rook to f7, knight to e5, we have rook to g7, we have king to c5, rook takes h7, now a fork, attack simply the knight, and here knight to h4. Even if you take here the pawn on g5, we'll simply have this one, rook to g7, and now we just continue with the pressure, and you cannot cover anymore the promotion here on the h file. So that's why knight to h4, we have king to f2, d4, g6, simply pushing now the pawns further. Also here the Seer engine tried to make something maybe on the queen side, but now after move e5 we have h7, king to b4, a new promotion of the queen. We have now e4, queen to a2, we have e3, king to e2, knight to g6 here, it's of course obviously Checkmate, but in this computer chess championships, the engines have to play the game till Checkmate, so it's really maybe strange to watch a little bit this game. But let's see really how this game ended with the move e2. We have now a new queen, now we have a knight. It's just prolonging the game. Again, a new check. No more checks are possible after queen to d4, king to b5, and queen to c4. This was a beautiful checkmate. So incredible game by Lila C0, really beautiful tactical shot in the middle of the game. As I said, this was, I think, very instructive game, because I think you will meet these positions. You see Lila C0 removed simply many of these pieces towards the king side and then simply attack the position. It's really hard for black to defend this position without defenders in front of the king. So okay, maybe you see this line, but I think this can be playable here from white's perspective. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game as a warm-up in 2023. Let's see now again the current standings. Maybe something changed. These are really the standings that we see now live. So still nothing changed. So Starfish and Lila C0 are in the lead of the Computer Bullet Chess Championship. Here 47.5 points for Lila, 47.5 points for Stockfish. It will be now a really beautiful duel, and I hope that the Lila C0 is getting stronger and stronger, because recently it was simply pure domination by Stockfish, and it's of course not so maybe fun to watch, just the pure domination of one engine. Maybe if something changes at the top, then we'll see more brutal games, more brutal tactics, more beautiful events. So I think we'll have a beautiful 2023. Okay, if you want to see more about the French defense, check out our French defense studies. Here's the link. And if you want to see maybe more about this beautiful computer chess games, check out also here our series. We have almost 400 games in top engine level. Here's also the link. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and chess is the best, of course.